Jim Caldwell here in the Alert Center here for First Alert Weather. We're talking about the big forecast for the weekend because I know it's been such a tricky one for many of you because you've been seeing all these reports and all these things from across the country even trying to nail down this system. Well, now we're getting a little closer. We're getting more information about it so we can get it up to date and you hopefully on the right track. Now, let's talk weather. First, out there right now, we've been chilly all day. The numbers have been sitting in the 30s, and they still are. And a few flakes are embedded. All right, there's my spill on for today. Let's look at the hour-by-hour forecast. And I'm going to run this all the way out because this is a newer run of what we call the IBM model. It's called the IBM graph, but it's easier just to call it the IBM because it's more familiar with you because it's the computer company that you're thinking of. Anyway, let's move into the future here. The rest of the day, it's fine. All right, we're likely upper 30s, around 40. Now, Friday morning, because we do have a different brand of air in here, we could probably be a little bit colder for the first part of the day. And then later on, I think there's a shot we go mid-40 territory, which is normal. Here's the first indicator. This model hasn't been, because it only runs so many days out, this is the first time we've really gotten to see its perspective on this. And you can see that it is picking up on that leading edge in the form of a wintry mix and some flakes and then of course some rain out there as well. We go a little deeper into the future, you get this good swath of snow to show up from Lexington out close to Ashland and to northern portions of Kentucky. But look at all that rain out there as well. I advance a little bit more into the future and you see that solid swath of snow sticking around some of the same areas for an extended period of time. That would mean if anybody's going to get accumulation, it would be there. But it doesn't last. That's the thing. So what's happening? Because of that system and everything that goes along with it, we are going into First Alert Weather Day mode from essentially Friday night going into Sunday because the impact of the system will be in some form or another during that time. You see that we're talking about a snow, wintry mix moving in. You get some slushy accumulations likely, and it's not for everybody. There's a shot that some of you folks in southern Kentucky, you don't get the first drop of accumulation. Maybe the high elevations, but not in the low-lying areas. And if you do, it's all slushy. Let's dig in a little bit deeper. This is another model, and what this is our GFS. We've been watching it for days. Let me move into the future. This is a little quicker on the arrival than what I was showing you with the IBM, and it gets a little band of snow setting up here, 12:30 there on Saturday. Now we continue forward. I stop the clock again at 5 a.m. Notice how far north that line is for the pink, which is the wintry mix. Notice it's essentially along Interstate 64 and points to the north. All right, that's 5 a.m. This is allowing a little more of an intrusion of some warmer air. And look at 9 a.m. on Saturday. This tries to convert it all over to plain old rain. Now, on the other side of all of this, you see there's another little shot of some wintry weather that'll come at us for your Sunday. So there's another little hint of that on the back side of it. So we get maybe some more flakes flying around that time. This is basically what Chris and I have done. We've put together a map and we've highlighted all the models and we've built it surrounding all of the data. And this is ultimately what we think will happen. There's your shot, wintry mix and snow band setting up. Again, this is all drawn by hand. We use what we call polygons to illustrate this. Now, you get snow showers in the northern half of the state. But that wintry mix continues to take over, cutting back on any totals. And that remains the case. Look at this 4-screen setup that I have here for you. This is a comparison between what I think we see in the models and what they're projecting as far as snowfall totals are concerned. Now, what I want you to remember about this snowfall event, because of the nature of the rain that will follow it in, you're also going to experience some melting, quite a bit of it. Let's pull each one out here. You know, if you've been watching on television, I've been talking about this 11:15 update all day, and I'm already up to 11:21. Been talking about it all day, coming here to really break down everything and analyze this forecast. Your best snow chance to go hand in hand with what we were seeing, and the best shot of accumulation. So when we put out a first call map, which likely happens probably later today, you see that it'll likely be in that best snow chance zone. That's the longest exposure time to snow that I think we have in our region. The rest of it is going to fall more into that mixing category, which would cut into any totals. So here's one model run. This is the NAM. And again, not putting any numbers out there for you just yet because this remains a very tricky situation. But notice where the heavier bands of snow are. See, you go from the lighter colors to the darker shadings. That shows you where the heavier snow is in the forecast. That's one run. Now here's another, the GFS. It's very similar. The swath isn't exactly the same, but this helps boost my confidence in showing you the representation of where the heaviest snow is going to be. Even though it's not exactly like the other, it makes me feel better. This one does not. See, that drops it a little bit more and even increases the totals a little bit because you're seeing multiple shades there. But it's still right there in the ballpark with our general snowfall forecast and that you see there again on the top of your screen. That's the weekend event. Now we look at the next 7 days because you have another shot. We're going through, this is the longest series of First Alert Weather Days that we've ever called in advance that I can ever recall since we started doing those. And those First Alert Weather Days are to just keep you ready for that potential. And sometimes it's for severe weather, sometimes it's for snow, and it can even be for a nuisance somewhere in between that could cause major problems for you that might not be a total shutdown system. But notice Tuesday and Wednesday, we pop those chances up again. What I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to give you a way early look at our loaded pattern. So one system's out. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. I think most of the day on your Monday is going to be just fine. Now look what happens as we advance. There we get into Tuesday, you get a solid round of rain. You see that circle down there around Memphis? That's kind of the center of this storm system. It's somewhere thereabouts, maybe right on top of Memphis even, as a matter of fact, just kind of glancing at this. All of those white lines out from this showing you where the wind's going to be. What it shows us really is how deep this low is. But what you are going to notice from it is that the wind picks up. So it's windy and it's wet on the initial side of this. That low tracks right over Kentucky and starts wrapping in that colder air from behind and starts throwing some snow around. And it's still windy, it's still wet. And those can produce some really inconvenient weather as well. And then that wraps up. But the thing is, there's more activity down the road. So if you check on WKYT.com or on our app or on our weather app, the news app or weather app, either one you've probably seen on this 7-day. We have First Alert Weather Day icons across the board other than today. It starts on Friday and it continues forward because we have two different systems. So we broke down one system. We started talking about the next one. Now, a lot can change, as we know, between now and then. But I just wanted to kind of get that first alert out for you so you could understand where we're headed with all of this. Now, do I think this is a big deal on Saturday? It's mainly a nuisance. I don't believe we get in on a significant amount of snow. It's going to be very slushy in the areas that we do see it. So it's one of those where we watch and see where that line of slushiness sets up and where it's just plain old rain. But we will keep you up to date on WKYT.com, on our news app, and on our weather app, and of course on television. That's where we've been doing it for many, many years. We appreciate you so much. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you.